Across Britain, unloved buildings and exhausted vehicles have reached the end of their natural life. A contest between man and materials, powered by a pack of metal monsters. In this world of destruction, the Scrap Kings take huge risks.
But come on, out!
Every time they blow up, demolish,
It's better to burn out than fade away!
and dismantle.
Yet another one bites the dust.
From the ashes of the rubble, materials emerge
Somebody's waste is another man's money.
to find new life. For the kings of this world, where there's scrap, there's cash.
That there is my bank account.
And they will form empires.
Off we go.
This is Scrap Kings. This time on Scrap Kings, a motorway bridge in Scotland suddenly collapses.
Draw back, draw back.
All hopes and dreams of cruising around Britain in Bubblicious are crushed. And a care home is razed to the ground. The precious Roman remains lie just below the surface. Hamilton, South Lanarkshire, in the central lowlands of Scotland. The M74 motorway, running southeast out of Glasgow. A vital economic link between England and Scotland for bridge builder Stuart Baird.
That particular section of M74 was constructed in 1968.
Originally a largely single-track road, the new 6-lane motorway helped drive the economy in the late 20th century. But recently, it's been creaking at the seams.
As the population of the commuter towns around Glasgow has grown, obviously the motorway has become much more used. It was designed for traffic flows around the 1990 level of about 85,000 vehicles a day. However, since 1990, traffic on the route has increased by 50%. That's resulted in sections requiring to be widened, and the works that are ongoing at the moment are increasing it from 3 lanes to 4 in each direction.
A new, much wider bridge is already being built. But the old Bothwell Road Bridge must be removed. A positive move for local resident Vincent McBreety.
It's necessary. You have to move with the times. You have to expand the motorway, get access in and out of Glasgow.
Okie doke, thanks, cheers.
Scrap King Alan Beattie must take her down.
2 years of planning comes down to 1 weekend, 56 hours.
It's a battle between man and a beast of engineering. On one side, she weighs 1,500 tons, is 14 metres tall and 110 metres long. The middle of the bridge will be cut out first, and the two end sections chipped away in a finely balanced demolition. On the other side, an army of 20 men and their mechanical brothers in arms. 8 43-ton excavators to reach up to the bridge, each driven by an 11-litre engine delivering 362 horsepower. And 2 47-ton excavators with an ultra-high reach. Tooled up with pecker hammers for destruction, grabbers to pull the bridge apart, and buckets to scoop up the rubble. There can only be one winner, but the ticking clock is the biggest enemy.
It's deadly critical that the road opens for 6 AM Monday morning to keep traffic flowing. There's not a lot of margin for error.
As Friday night falls, Commander-in-Chief Allen runs through the battle plan.
Davy has got the reach to come up more and down onto it if you just pepper the beam. You've got the easy bit tonight, mate.
With the strategy in place, the motorway must be shut.
We're getting southbound first, and then we'll get northbound. So by that time, I'm hoping to hit at least an access road across into the centre that he can start peddling stuff there.
Work begins up top. But as the last car drives through below, it's now diggers only on the carriageway. All 6 lanes are theirs. The field of combat must be protected so that the cars can return on Monday morning. Rolls of fabric protect the tarmac. Steel plates spread the load of what's about to land on top.
Right, come, mate!
Thousands more tons of hardcore will catch falling lumps of concrete and provide height to work from.
Up you go!
With road protection in place, battle can commence.
I'm just putting the last loads in, done the protection. It's hammer time, we're good to go. I'm always better when I hear the hammers rattling.
High-reach excavators armed with a pecker drive take out the middle section first to keep the end sections balanced.
If we just cut a hole through it, it's got the potential with the cantilever to fold in itself.
To stop the dust spreading, a mechanical water spray is fired towards the bridge.
20 minutes in, making good progress. The scrap's looking quite promising. I'm a happy man.
Allen's just the latest generation of a family that's been doing demolition for decades.
Traditionally, it is family-based. We're a tight-knit family and like working together.
The middle of the bridge must be taken down delicately to avoid an uncontrolled collapse.
It's turned rather cool. When I get an air gap through that centre section, we'll be happier. And then I could get all the excavators working on it.
But by 5 in the morning, she's proving stubborn. And with just 39 hours to go, Allen's not happy.
I had secretly hoped to be a wee bit further on at this stage, if I'm honest. The concrete's proving a bit tougher than we initially thought. It's taking a bit more breaking, so we just need to be careful that we don't cause an uncontrolled collapse here. We're taking our time working it down rather than it collapsing down.
It's a contest between hammers and 1,500 tons of reinforced concrete, unwilling to come down easily. They're already behind schedule, and Allen can only hope the demolition gods are smiling on him. Southern England, Hampshire, the historic natural harbour of Portsmouth. Protected by the Isle of Wight, it's been a major base for the Royal Navy since medieval times. It's now a successful commercial ferry port connecting Britain with continental Europe. Thousands of privately owned pleasure craft also enjoy the water. But every boat has its day. Just a few meters from open water, end-of-life vessels on death row. Scrap King Steve Franklin runs a boat graveyard. A man paid hard cash to break up dearly beloved vessels their owners have left behind.
And you can see this one is beyond recycling. We've got, if you look at, there's just too much work that needs to be done to make it seaworthy again. You've got windows here that are rubbish. We can't sell them on. Who wants to buy an old window for your boat? We've got a cover here that, we could take off and we could sell the cover on, but this cover really only fits this boat. you just can't repair it for a reasonable price. So that's the problem. All these boats come to the end of their natural life, and at some point you've got to make that decision as to whether you chop them up or not. And this one is going to get the chop today.
As an island nation, Britain has more than 11,000 miles of coastline. There are over 1 million boats in the UK, and many owners can't bear to part with them.
Boaters love their boats, and when it comes to end of life, we get the call, but we get a tearful conversation more often than not. We take the boats away and they'll end up here, and then we do what we need to do. We'll never send the owners a video of it being done because it's just too tense, it's too emotional for these people to own these boats. So we've got to scrap some boats today, Luke.
Okay, yeah, so we've got probably 2 to do, I'd say.
Paul John's complete scrap, so we'll just crush that one.
Crush that one, yeah. I think it'd be best, the quickest way would be the big digger, wouldn't it, to crush in there.
This one, I can see there are some bits and bobs. We need to yank them off the cover. Maybe there's some stuff inside. Not much else, though. So we'll pull them all into this space here. Mat down. Let's get amongst it. All right, let's go and get the stuff. As you can see, most boats have got a name. They've got a personality. And in general, I'm asked, how do you feel about getting rid of these things? Well, when it comes to the end of its life, I have no qualms about getting rid of them. The boatyards and marinas and all sorts of places around this country are full to the brim of end-of-life boats. And somebody's got to get rid of them. So why shouldn't it be me?
First in line for special attention, Bubblicious, a 43-year-old motorboat, 6 metres long, made of fiberglass, weighing in at 900 kilos. Built in Britain, the Fairline 19 was a trailblazer. One of the early models escorted the jet-powered Bluebird on Lake Coniston in January 1967, the day Donald Campbell died trying to break his own water speed record. In the mid-70s, later models were more expensive than an average house and cost around £15,000. Fairlines provided hours of boating fun in the late 70s, with around 2 boats a week sold over 8 years. On the other side, a team of scrappers. Their leader, Steve, and a 21-ton crawler excavator. Made for destruction, packing a 130 horsepower engine, tooled up with a 5-finger grab. Nicknamed Big Cat.
What we're doing here is we're just prepping this boat ready to be crushed. We're just keeping the best bits and the rest of it can just go in the skip. That's it. Oh man, there we go, right.
But Steve's team has gone AWOL.
They're probably all having a cup of tea. Or they're asleep. No, they've disappeared. They'll be round the back. I just don't know where they've gone. The great chase.
After an extended tea break, Steve gets them back to work.
So fellas, mustard boat over there we're going to smash up now, so let's get amongst it. We're going to pull it across here, we'll put the sheeting down, Nige in the cab, crush away, get it in there, let's get amongst it.
Stripped bare, they need to get Bubblicious closer to the skip. Nigel, the digger driver, tries to pull her by the pulpit. But Bubblicious isn't keen on moving.
No, OK. Just watch yourself. We're just going to put the chain on the front of this now because the pulpit couldn't hold it. And we're going to drag it.
A final neck chain for departure. But she's refusing to wear it.
Ah!
It's time for caveman tactics.
Nige, you'll have to just grab it. That'll do.
Tarpaulins to catch the debris.
Right, so all that happens now is Nigel just crush it up now. Now we've got the mat down to protect the work surface. He'll just crush it up. All the mess will go onto the plastic. We'll pick all the plastic up all together, throw it all in the skip. I love breaking boats. I wouldn't want to break anything else. Just right up my street. I really enjoy it and I wouldn't want to change for anybody. For Nigel sitting up there in the cab, it must be quite cathartic. Crushing boats. It's quite nice to watch it as well, isn't it?
But he's still got another boat to break by sunset, and if they don't get it crushed, it'll be Steve taking the financial blows. Coming up, in Scotland, tons of concrete's wobbling in mid-air,
Draw back, draw back.
and family ties are severely tested.
Davey, don't touch anything until we get them out the way, please.
And a care home in York is falling down on top of precious Roman remains. Bothwell, South Lanarkshire, Scotland. 10 miles southeast of Glasgow. A motorway bridge is hanging together by a thread. The last bits of steel rope are about to be cut. With the middle spine now broken, the heavy end sections teeter on 4 thin piers either side.
There's only one way it's going. If it collapses, it's straight down. It's more the potential for damage to the carriageway. We're trying to avoid heavy sections falling on the carriageway. If we can keep it suspended there, we can work it down rather than it falling at a funny angle.
But like a slowly dying beast, she begins to wobble. If the bridge falls, the drivers will be directly underneath.
Draw back, draw back.
But one driver can't hear Alan's instructions.
I don't think he's got his radio on, or he's got it down.
As the bridge loses its strength, gravity suddenly takes over. It's what Alan feared most, and he must change tactics to avoid another catastrophic collapse.
The Malcolm machines can use reverse out the way just now, please, till we get this thing safe.
If another section drops, every driver's vulnerable.
Davey, don't touch anything until we get them out the way, please.
The next moves are critical. Every second's vital, and the team are relying on Alan making the right decisions in testing conditions.
It's potentially dangerous, yep. It had the potential to be dangerous.
And it's not just people at risk from falling concrete. There's concern about the new bridge just a few metres alongside.
But not just land on the heap of rubble that's already there, Dave. What are you thinking, it's going to fall into the new bridge?
A huge weight of concrete and steel is lurching to one side. There's huge pressure on the remaining legs.
You've got a funny old weight sitting up there. Please watch the machine. We've got the backspan here. It's off the plinth. So you're relying on these four piers holding that section up.
At any second, tons of concrete and steel could fall as one lump, damaging the motorway, or worse, smashing into the new bridge. The situation's serious, and our cameras are sent packing.
Ed, can I get you back a wee bit, eh?
As Alan plans a new strategy, 400 tons of concrete are precariously balanced up in the air. The city of York, northern England. Created by the Romans in 71 AD. The site of the original Roman fortress lies buried beneath the city's cathedral, York Minster. 2,000 years later, some Roman fortifications are preserved. But a stone's throw from the city wall, a redundant 70s care home sits right on top of significant historic artifacts. Everything from swords to gold coins could lie beneath. The area inside the city walls of York is full of Roman remains, and helping to preserve the city's history is archaeologist Ian Milstead.
York owes its existence to the Romans. It was founded in AD 71 by the 9th Legion.
Building York was part of the Romans' push north 30 years after they landed in Britain. They stayed for another 300 years.
The key thing about the Romans in York is we've probably only encountered about 3% of the potential Roman city. So 90% of the potential Roman city is lying underneath nearly 2,000 years of later archaeology.
5,000 soldiers were based in the garrison, and a whole economy grew up around them.
Everywhere you walk in York, however, you're walking over the Roman period. If you excavate a hole anywhere within the historic centre of York, you're very likely to hit archaeology.
The preservation of the city's history is vital work.
York, at its heart, is the Roman story. The Roman story is the origin of York.
Back in the demolition arena, scrap king Jonathan Hutchinson must execute the destruction of the care home without damaging any of the history lying just below the surface.
So if they find any remains that's of any historic value, then we have to stop work and they'll start digging out for the remains of whatever's left.
This is a battle between 21st century man and 1970s brick and steel. Jonathan Hutchinson leads a small unit of 3 legionnaires and a 25-ton excavator. Their mission: to surround and bring down a structure 14 metres high, 36 metres long and 12 metres wide. Nearly 30,000 bricks and tons of internal steel must be moved on, all without disturbing the Roman remains lying beneath.
It'd be nice to find a pot of gold. I'd hand it back in, as all trustworthy people do, you know.
But before they can get anywhere near the soil, demolition must begin.
Adrenaline rush. That's what you get, an adrenaline rush, when you're doing this sort of work.
They've got just a few days to get their care home down and off-site.
I came into demolition, well, I was on site, it's been from 8-year-old, sitting on one at machineman's knee, operating a machine. As I've got older, my 2 sons have come on board. Hopefully my grandsons will come on board. I do this job for my family. Makes you feel proud of what you can achieve through a bit of hard work.
His son Ashley's on board the demolition man's chariot.
It's born into you. You either like doing it or you don't. Ashley, from leaving school, that's all he wanted to do with demolition.
As they work out from the centre of the building, the aim is to recycle 99% of the materials. But some metals are more precious than others.
No Roman treasure yet, but we're still digging. We're going to find some eventually. If we find any gold, it'll be straight in pocket. We're segregating the materials as we come to them. Steel, and then you've got your non-ferrous metals, your brass, your copper, your lead.
But getting the materials out requires more precision than you think. One wrong move and the whole building could be weakened. One wrong turn and the 25-ton excavator will collapse the underground cellars and the excavator would disappear down a hole.
Take that corner out, and then when we get to that last piece, we're going to go outside, then me and Carl will go and bank from outside while you take that corner down.
With the centre of the building gone, Ashley heads for the corner next to the footpath. And parts of the building can tumble at any second.
Carl, you'll be better off round this side. Come over that way a bit. Don't stand too near that wall in case something drops off. No 2 buildings at the same. You know, you might get 2 houses and you start pulling them and one will go completely different to the other. It's just basic look at draw.
Ashley needs to expose the staircase to get to the banister. Extreme precision's required as metal's plucked off concrete with ease. Sharp materials sent spinning. But suddenly, work stops. This building's not going without a fight.
What, you trapped one at pipes? You got a spare at it back? Trapped it with some piece of timber.
Clean shade off, Johnny.
Ah, you broke it off, Ash.
Their luck has run out. A pipe carrying oil has been cut.
Yeah, I think you've snapped it with, copped it with something that's gone inside. No spare ones.
There's no spare on site, and the excavator's laid low like a lion with a thorn in its paw.
A piece of timber or something's gone in there and broken the pipe off there. If we operate it without that working, there's a possibility that the attachment can drop off. It might delay us an hour, it might delay us 2 hours. Depends how quick pipeman can get to us to repair it.
Oil's leaking everywhere, and it's a hazard to the environment.
It might not look a lot, but in half an hour you might have lost 5 or 6 gallons of oil.
If it's not fixed soon,
Get to it there.
the rest of the day is a write-off.
Wait for pipeman to come. Cup of tea. Nothing else you can do.
Half an hour later, pipeman Mark Farr arrives to see if he can get the excavator going. The attachment is a vital bit of kit. It's known as a selector grab and weighs just short of 2 tons. It relies on hydraulic oil pressure in narrow pipes to create a crushing power of around 9,000 kilos per square metre. It costs an average of £18,000.
They've broke the quick hitch hose, which basically holds this on to the machine, and without it, if the spring come loose, it'd just fall off. They only need the slightest knock and that's it, they're off.
I've just bought my son a cup of tea. £1.90 for a cup of tea. Scandalous.
You'll dock me wage.
Come down his wage Friday.
Got him in a good mood today, so if he's in a bad mood, he's hard work.
You're under a bit of pressure because obviously the lads are stood looking at you, waiting for you to get it fixed and running. They obviously don't want to be working in the dark. You can feel sometimes the eyes burning.
Come on, get bloody wet, kid. Hurry up.
Mark's working as fast as he can, but if he can't fix it, they won't be able to make the building safe.
Fine.
Unwanted overnight visitors could be putting their lives at risk.
Right, I need a part, you'll have to wait till morning.
We all bet.
Come on then.
Bodgy, get it bodgy.
I've bodged it, yeah.
Right, thank you very much.
All yours, have fun.
With the light fading, the pressure's on to get the site safe.
We're back working again, but obviously daylight's up against us. So we're going to make the site as safe as we can, the area where it's demolishing at the moment. Make sure there's nothing can drop in case we don't get intruders doing it at night. And then we're going to wrap up for the evening, back to it in the morning.
But the team are behind schedule. The builders are booked for a few weeks' time, and it'll cost the company thousands of pounds if the site's not ready when they turn up. Across Britain every year, hundreds of boats are abandoned. An environmental and navigation hazard. On the south coast, in Portsmouth Harbour, one man's doing something about it. Earlier, a pleasure cruiser called Bubblicious was selected for destruction. She could have been lovingly repaired, but boat breaker Steve Frankland isn't exactly in the restoration business.
I became a marine surveyor, which means that I check boats out and make sure they're fit for purpose. Boat breakers as a business came from that. I was looking at boats and found that there was more things wrong with them than was right. I wondered who got rid of boats at the end of their lives, and nobody offered that as a proper service. So boat breakers appeared. I started it and haven't really looked back. It's a great fun business to be in. So yet another one bites the dust. That's the end of Bootylicious, I think that one was called. No, Bubblicious. We brought it here with the intention of doing it up, or tidying it up. Never got around to it. Now there's no chance, we'll never do it up. I haven't checked my watch, but I think it's been about 10 minutes. It really doesn't take long, this process, as long as you've got the right equipment. We've got a cat, a great big caterpillar here, with a lovely grab, and as you can see in seconds, a boat's gone from a boat to just a pile of scrap.
And Steve's work is never done. Next up, a 5-metre long motorboat called Pojon. Weighing in at around 1,000 kilos, built in 1972 from fiberglass. On the other side of this battle, a trusty 25-ton excavator with a powerful engine, providing hydraulic pressure to a 5-finger grab. Pojon must be stripped for a final journey.
Trying to save this dinghy, I don't know why. Do you want this dinghy, Nige?
No.
Should we crash it? Take the fire extinguisher, just quickly pull it off the wall. Okay, that'll do. Okay.
Stripping a boat of valuable items doesn't deliver particularly rich pickings.
I have yet to find anything worthwhile. No, I tell a lie. I found a watch on a boat once. We get hundreds of binoculars. Oh, and clocks and barometers. If you need a clock or barometer, we're your men, because we've got plenty of them.
With little boat junk on offer, it's time to scuttle what used to be someone's pride and joy.
Absolutely not a drop of scrap in that boat. There was no engine, nothing worth keeping in there at all. It is just old, dry fiberglass. Hey, Nige. We'll just fill that dinghy with rubbish. Yeah. We'll quickly put the rubbish in this dinghy.
The final dinghy in dignity.
I have no problem getting my hands dirty. It's all good fun. I like a nice, clean, tidy place.
A tiny vessel that used to carry passengers shipped to shore now takes what's left of her mothership, in bits, to the skip. The cherry on top of the Scrap King's cake.
That's good. Yeah, go. So Nigel now he'll just take the caterpillar off site now, and now we'll clean the site up a little bit more efficiently.
Pojon and Bubblicious are in bits, or will never feel the lapping of seawater again.
This is what ends up in the skips. This fiberglass is not dangerous in as such, but it's still got an awful lot of strength. I couldn't break that if I tried. It has no value. You can't reuse it for anything. So it has to go in the skips, and unfortunately, landfill is where it's off to next.
From the crest of a wave to wiped out beneath the soil. But without scrap kings like Steve the Boatbreaker, the waterways of Britain will be much more cluttered with the rotting remnants of floating dreams. Coming up, Alan Beattie clears up the mess
Right, come, mate!
after the unexpected bridge collapse. And pedestrians must pass. But bricks are flying next to a footpath in York.
Johnny!
Back in Scotland, it's Saturday morning and the bridge is nearly down.
We've only got concrete and scrap, so we're not anticipating any waste going to landfill at all. It's 100% recycle rate.
By Saturday night, 6 lanes of motorway are covered by 10,000 tonnes of hardcore and another 1,500 tonnes of crumbled bridge on top. But in 32 hours, it's time for the commuter rush hour.
You still to achieve that opening, 75,000 vehicles want to trundle up this on Monday morning, so it focuses the thoughts.
Despite a lack of sleep, the Scrap Kings work flat out in a race against the clock to get the motorway open on Monday morning. And for the Scrap Kings, it's about getting as much metal as possible out of the concrete.
There's an overhead magnet in it. It separates any scrap material. We'll load that into Arctics and that'll get transported to metal merchants in Glasgow for further grading and recycling there. And generally it goes for export.
Every steel rod is vital and makes a big difference to Alan's profits. Each tonne of steel can be worth over £150. And in scrap, every little tonne helps. All the hardcore and crumbled bridge concrete must be scooped off the surface of the M74 motorway. A team of dumper trucks rolling all hours. On Sunday morning, working on minimal sleep, Alan emerges bleary-eyed to work out the profit from the scrap materials.
I think we'll probably gain 50 tonne-ish on our estimates, our initial estimates, when the structure was standing. Looking at it just now, time you get through that, I'd anticipate up to 200 tonnes recycled.
Alan thought he'd have 1,000 tonnes of aggregates and 150 tonnes of metal. The extra 50 tonnes of metals makes him another £9,500.
This is the fruits of our efforts over the weekend. Somebody's waste is another man's money.
But cars still can't drive on the motorway. The inspectors are coming in a few hours' time. If there are any dents or scratches to the road surface, the motorway won't be able to open. Alan will not only face huge financial penalties, but he'll have to repair any damage at his own cost, with all the profits disappearing a lot quicker than the old bridge. Back in the Roman city of York, Scrap King Jonathan Hutchinson is up against it after an excavator broke down.
We had a bit of setback yesterday, so today we're going to try and catch the time back up. We're going to take another section of building out there, take the roof down, leaving the corner of the building still stood, and attack that corner.
But the whole operation's taking place above 2,000-year-old Roman remains. They've also got to protect passers-by. It's potentially dangerous for anyone who gets too close. Jonathan takes the controls. The bricks must fall inside the boundary, particularly near the footpath.
Yeah, you've got to have your wits about you. You know, you've got to be watching all the time. If the building's moving in directions that you don't expect it to, be observant all the time, just keep your eye on it. What we don't want you to see is the building to go straight over in one foul swoop. If you and Danny can go outside, yeah. Will you near the gate so I can see you? Okay. Any pedestrians out, just stop them, will you?
Carl and Danny are dispatched to the footpath. Safety's the #1 priority. The last thing they want is bricks flying over the fence and injuring someone.
All right.
With the path clear, Johnny can start laying into the building. But his window of opportunity doesn't last long. Johnny's so focused, he can't see Cal. Bricks continue to fly.
All done. Right, look.
But this resident has survived a lot worse than a few falling bricks and makes a break for the shops. Johnny finally gets the message. But unfortunately for Cal, he's halfway to the corner shop. Luckily, the border's wide, and Johnny's dexterity with the digger keeps all the scrap within the boundary.
That wall could have gone either way. You need a lot of skill. We've been doing it a long time. But it's quite good, he's Johnny.
The corners are probably the worst part to demolish. The only way to do it is just a little bit at a time, just keep peeling it away.
Corner done, and the Scrap King's grabber could soon be swapped for the archaeologist's trowel.
Now we've got that corner down, I think we're one step closer now to archaeologists coming back, and hopefully let's find some Roman remains. Could be interesting for everybody. Could be a first.
For now, the care home is only halfway down. Any Roman remains are untouched, but the city archaeologist will be on site for an inspection in a matter of days. Coming up, Alan wants to hand the motorway back, but a strict safety inspection leaves him on tenterhooks. And in York, Ashley's just 20 centimetres away from Roman treasures, and the archaeologist is breathing down his neck. Back in the north of England, in the Roman city of York. Inside the ancient city walls, the care home is down. Scrap King Ashley Hutchinson's got below ground level, and the archaeologist has arrived on site. She needs to make sure Ashley doesn't hit the Roman remains beneath.
Been a little bit nervous this morning. We're a lot closer to the artefacts than we expected. Get a measure just to make sure it... so I don't knock it with teeth. As you can imagine, being inside the castle in York, there's going to be a lot of archaeology, so they're wanting to be here to make sure we don't unearth any, and if we do, the job will have to stop.
And the archaeologist is using her GPS survey kit to map out where the Roman homes used to be.
This whole area were people's back gardens. It says there will be pottery. You could find something that hasn't been seen for hundreds of years.
Ashley is just centimetres away from historic artefacts, but still needs to get the concrete foundations out of the ground.
I could rip it to bits, but with only having 20 centimetres to play with underneath footing, and to take my time with it, I know it's not easy.
Inch by inch, Ashley tries to remove the concrete and avoid the Roman remains.
You don't want to mess anything up, and we would get reported if we went into the archaeology.
He doesn't have much to play with and must stop 20 centimetres above the remnants of Roman life.
20 centimetres with a 20-ton machine, it takes a little bit of skill.
Scrap Kings may be known for destruction, but can deliver a soft touch. Ashley manages to save the Roman remains.
In York there's a lot of heritage, and we have to do our part, try and preserve as much as we can.
The archaeological maps are updated, and the priceless heritage of the city of York is preserved for future generations. Scotland, just south of Glasgow, near Hamilton. The old Bothwell Road bridge is demolished, but the motorway is still shut in both directions. Alan Beattie and his team have just a few hours to remove the rubble without leaving a scratch. Wooden girders are set aside to prepare for a surface inspection in the early hours. If there's any damage to the surface of the motorway, it won't be opening on Monday morning.
Nice and easy there, no dolly. Don't go too. That'll do there.
As the tarmac's revealed, the last crumbs of concrete are swept aside. The last of the hardcore on what remains of the bridge must be shifted.
He'll take the heavy off, and then the wee loader gets the remainder, and then the sweeper will tidy it up.
As night falls, they've got just 6 hours before the road surface inspection. Magnets are attached to the excavators. The pipework is checked. Everything must work perfectly. If a 2-ton steel plate drops at an angle, it'll leave a deep dent and need an emergency repair. The lower layer of steel plates must be carefully lifted so they're not dragged across the motorway. With the road revealed, there's nothing like attention to detail.
Outdoor, cold, wet, bogging, dirty. That's me, aye.
John Burns is a scrap king who loves his job.
Being part of the company that's generating the roads and stuff like that, I'm proud to be part of that. It's improving the area, so it's going to be no congestion here, so that's good.
Every last grain of hard coal must be cleared, and old school technology is called for.
A brand new brush.
The road sweepers do what they can, but the clear-up is not going fast enough for some. After a weekend with little sleep, tensions are rising.
Are we good to go here? These boys are bursting my chops. He's doing my box in.
Precision is demanded, and to hurry things along, Alan decides to take on some of the finer detail of the clean-up.
I'll get the sweepers to do that up there.
The inspection is just an hour away, and sometimes, to make the deadline, the boss has to get his hands dirty.
It's going to be spotless to do the inspection, so hence we've got 2 sweepers on it.
By sunrise, they want it to look as if nothing has happened. And Alan isn't missing an inch. Finally, the crash barriers are dropped in place, just minutes before the carriageway inspection. Bang on time, Motorway Inspector Ian McCready is on site. Alan can only hope he doesn't find any problems.
Any holes, any damage to the surface, anything's going to cause the public any danger once the road reopens.
Cars and lorries must be able to roll through at high speed. But if anything's wrong, it's Alan's head that'll roll. At the end of the inspection, Ian needs to call the office. The success of the weekend riding on this call.
How's it looking, Ian?
Looking good, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers, well done.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Out. Job done. Rest of the day off.
It's a huge relief. The motorway's handed back in one piece without a scratch.
Finally some sleep now.
Alan's played his part in modernising Scotland's transport infrastructure for the 21st century. He's kept everyone safe and continued a proud family tradition.
My first job was a motorway bridge. In fact, certainly it was on the M74, working with my father when I first left school. I think he would be proud, aye.